There is an old piece of folk wisdom passed between men for generations. Ignore her, and she will come to you. Most men who hear this treat it as a trick, a maneuver to be performed, a line to be delivered with the right smirk at the right moment. They try it, it fails. And they conclude, reasonably enough, that it was never true to begin with. They are half right. The technique is worthless. But beneath the folk wisdom lies a law of human nature so consistent that it has shaped courtships, courts, and conquests for as long as people have wanted things from one another. Understand this law, and you will never need the technique again because you will no longer be performing withdrawal. You will simply no longer be needy. And that difference is the entire subject of this video. The master trait to eliminate. Of all the qualities that repel another person, none is more corrosive. None acts faster than neediness. It is the single trait every unsuccessful courtship shares, and almost no man believes he possesses it. You are wrong to think neediness announces itself loudly, through jealousy, through obsessive checking, through the frantic energy of a man who has lost his composure. Those are only its final degraded forms. In its early and more dangerous stages, neediness is silent. It hides inside generosity. It disguises itself as attentiveness, as effort, as the simple desire to be liked. A man believes he is being kind when in fact he is signaling something else entirely, that he requires her approval to feel whole. Here is the law beneath the law. The amount you invest in another person is inversely related to how desired you become. Give too much, too early, without return, and desire evaporates, not gradually, but almost immediately, the moment the pattern becomes visible. This runs against everything you have been taught. You have been told that devotion wins hearts, that persistence proves love, that the man who tries hardest deserves to win. It is a comforting story. It is also false. Overinvestment does not purchase affection. At best, it purchases a kind of harmless fondness, the fondness one has for a loyal servant. At worst, it purchases contempt, what your actions communicate beneath the words. The deeper error is believing that neediness lives in specific behaviors, as though avoiding certain actions were enough to cure it. It does not work this way. Neediness is not what you do. It is what your doing reveals about your inner state. Two men can perform the same act and communicate opposite things. A man who buys a stranger a drink to earn a few minutes of her attention is confessing, without meaning to, that he does not believe he could hold that attention on his own merit. A man who mentions his career, his possessions, his accomplishments unprompted is quietly pleading a case for his own worth. And the moment a man must argue for his worth, he has already lost the argument. End quote. These gestures are not attractive or unattractive in themselves. They are transparent windows into a man's private opinion of himself, and people read that opinion instinctively, long before they could explain how. Contrast this with the man who needs nothing from the exchange. When he is teased, he does not defend himself. He redirects the tease with amusement, because a true accusation cannot wound a man who has already made peace with himself. He is not performing indifference. He simply has nowhere urgent to be, nothing riding on the outcome. And it is precisely this absence of urgency that reads instantly and instinctively as power. 3 stages of a man's development. Consider 3 men at 3 different stages of this same disease. The first is fully consumed by it. He buys attention rather than earning it. He fills silences with achievements no one asks to hear. If he secures a date, he floods her with long messages, morning greetings, nightly reassurances, mistaking volume for connection. On the date itself, he defers every decision to her, terrified that his own preference might be found wanting. Every gesture, however generous it appears, is a confession of fear. I do not believe I am enough, so I am compensating. The second man has learned to hide the disease, but not to cure it. He no longer chases visibly, yet provoke him, suggest he is less than he claims, and the mask slips. He defends, explains, justifies. The need for her good opinion is still there, it has only gone underground. The third man has done the actual work. He has nothing to prove because he has already proven it to himself in private long before she arrived. When accused of being a player, he does not deny it. He receives it as a compliment paid to his character, perhaps even tests her interest in return. He is not withholding affection as strategy. He is simply a man whose sense of value was settled before the conversation began. This is the man women pursue, not because he pursues a technique of scarcity, but because scarcity is the natural, unfaked byproduct of who he already is. Why absence outperforms presence. This same law governs a second related principle, the strange power of withdrawal itself. Most men assume that constant presence secures a place in someone's mind, replying instantly, checking in often, offering reassurance whenever it is sought. It seems logical. It is, in fact, self-defeating. Human attention does not attach itself to what is guaranteed. It attaches to what is uncertain. The mind does not dwell on what it has already fully mapped. It dwells on what remains unresolved, unexplained, slightly out of reach. A man who narrates every thought and emotion leaves nothing for the other mind to complete. A man who instead remains occupied with his own purpose, present when he is present, absent without apology when he is not, leaves gaps, and the human mind cannot resist filling a gap. What is he thinking? Why has he gone quiet? Where has his attention gone? This is not a manipulation to be deployed. Deployed as manipulation, it fails instantly because anxious withdrawal and genuine self-possession look identical on the surface and feel entirely different underneath. The silence of a man punishing someone or performing a strategy carries the scent of neediness still, only inverted. The silence of a man who is simply, authentically occupied with his own life carries no such scent at all. This is the distinction almost every student of the ignore technique fails to grasp and why it fails them. The discipline beneath the law. Every relationship given enough time produces friction, a delayed reply, an ambiguous remark, a small wound. It is in these moments that a man's true position reveals itself. The undisciplined man reacts instantly. Anxiety over silence, over explanation after a joke lands wrong, a flash of jealousy converted into a cutting remark. The emotion itself is not the failure. Every man feels these things. The failure is allowing the emotion to command the behavior in real time. People place their trust, almost against their will, in whoever remains composed while they themselves are reactive. This composure is not coldness. It is evidence plainly displayed that this man's equilibrium is generated from within rather than granted by another person's mood. And once a man's peace can be granted or withdrawn by someone else, he has handed over something far more valuable than affection. He has handed over control, the true purpose beneath the strategy. Here, finally, is what almost no one arrives at. None of this was ever truly about her. Withdrawal, composure, low neediness, these were never techniques for extracting a reaction from another person. Their true function is to sever the wire connecting your sense of worth to someone else's attention in the first place. Consider how many men, without noticing, begin to reshape themselves around another person's expectations, abandoning opinions, rearranging priorities, replacing the question, "What do I want?" with the far more corrosive question, "What will make her stay?" Repeated enough times, that question dissolves self-respect entirely. And self-respect, not any technique, is the true foundation beneath everything discussed here. Confidence rises and falls with recent success. Self-respect does not move. It is built on standards a man maintains whether or not anyone is watching, whether or not anyone applauds. What remains? So set aside the question of how to make her chase you. Ask instead whether you are a man worth chasing by your own private standard, the only standard that was ever real. Build towards something. Let your attention be a gift you choose to give, not a debt you pay out of fear of losing someone. Do this consistently, and you will find you no longer need the old folk wisdom at all. Withdrawal will no longer be a maneuver you perform. It will simply be the quiet, natural signature of a man who has already made peace with his own worth, and that is the only version of the law that has ever actually worked. We will trace the evolutionary roots of this law, why it operates so consistently across cultures and centuries, in the next chapter of this series.